Hey, welcome to today's podcast. I'm excited about today's show. Today, I have the founder of EthDenver and Opolis here on the podcast. He's a longtime supporter of crypto and an organizer of events, large crypto events, actually. Welcome, John Pollard, to the show. John, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, before we dive in, can you just share with our viewers and our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm John. I'm the founder of EthDenver and also the founder of Opolis. My day-to-day role, you could say, we refer to ourselves as stewards in both contexts. So, I sort of help move things along and do various things to make sure that we continue to grow and serve our purpose. I've been in crypto for quite a while. I've been working in crypto full-time since 2016. It's come long way since I've in crypto, crypto years is kind of like dog years. It seems like, every year is like 7 years. It'll age you like that. But I've been in it for some time. So my background in a previous life is HR tech and employment systems.
Okay.
So that obviously dovetails well with what we're doing over at Opolis, which we've even discussed previously. So
Yes.
That's a little bit about me.
Okay. Yeah, we actually had you on the audio podcast earlier in the year, and we went into all about Opolis and wanted to have you back on so we could do a video here. Hey, John, can you share just a little bit about what is EthDenver for people around the world that may not be familiar? And then we'll segue into what is Opolis as well.
Sure. So EthDenver is the world's largest Web3 software development building competition. So in Web3 speak, it'd be a hackathon, but it's really more than that nowadays. It's we actually prefer to refer to it as a Buidlathon. So Buidl is the meme that was birthed at EthDenver in 2018, which has become sort of the rallying cry for the Ethereum community. And so it's like misspelled build intentionally, kind of like hodl for Bitcoin.
Okay.
But, in any case, we host, it's the biggest event of its kind in the world. We just hosted 12,000 people from over 100 countries.
Wow.
In February, in the middle of a pandemic, right? So,
wow.
We gave out over $1 million in total bounties and prizes, and people from literally every corner of the globe came to support it. So its purpose is really two things. It's a great opportunity for the community to get together and sort of build together and just connect.
Okay.
And then really it's about realizing this future of the decentralized world. And there's two parts to that. One is, again, building. Everything's building centric. So I'll say that a lot. And then the other is just experiencing this whole Web3 movement. So we are a big on-ramp, and a lot of our people who come are brand new to crypto, and they've never seen any of this before. So then when they get to experience an NFT art gallery, or they get to pay for their food truck food with crypto, or they get to, sit and rub elbows with some of the biggest luminaries in the space, it's pretty amazing experience. And we had a 100-foot LED wall.
Wow.
With like just crazy interactive stuff going on.
Wow.
It's quite an experience, which is why we prefer, instead of conference, we prefer community innovation festival.
Okay, so it's a multi-day event, and it is in Denver, right?
Yeah.
Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, it's in Denver every year.
Okay.
We've done it 5 times. Well, one of them was virtual, but we recreated everything in the metaverse to make it feel like we were in person, but we weren't. But we've done it 4 times in person, 1 time virtually. It's always in Denver. And we've got a huge public-private partnership with the state. It's a pretty amazing effort. When I say the community, it's a community of communities.
Uh-huh.
So we've got anywhere from the state of Colorado to, brand new hatchling projects to very well established crypto projects from all over the ethersphere. So
Wow.
yeah,
12,000 people from 100 countries. It's really grown,
we
huh?
had we had 28,000 applications and we couldn't even like accept everybody.
Wow. 28,000.
28,000.
That's a lot of people that come into Denver or who
That's
wanted
a
to.
That's a lot of people. I mean, we originally anticipated, our largest in-person installation previously was about 2,500 people.
Wow.
And like we were like, okay, well, if we double that,
Uh-huh.
we that would be a huge year, right?
Yeah.
To double in size. But it
Uh-huh.
went up like orders of magnitude. And we're just like,
Wow. So you had speakers and different workshops, different hackathon related items with devs, and I take it, yeah.
600 speakers on
Wow.
6 stages over 9 days at 3 venues.
9 days. Wow.
Biddle week is sort of so everybody's got their blockchain week, right? Like
Yeah.
LA blockchain week and New York blockchain week and Paris blockchain week. It's like, yeah, whatever. We prefer to focus on biddling, right? So we call it Buidl week. So Buidl week is an open source calendar. So during the week leading up to the main event, which is usually Friday, Saturday, Sunday of the President's Day weekend,
Okay.
we have a tool that people can come in and put an event on the calendar, and they can do it anywhere in the city. Obviously we even help try to book venues and things.
Hmm.
There was over 300 side events that happened during Biddle week.
Wow.
It was bananas.
Wow. So
300 side events all over the city, right?
Denver took over Denver,
Oh, it did. There's no joke about that. I mean, the area that we're in is called the Golden Triangle, which is where we've historically held the event.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of an up and coming kind of arts social district.
Okay.
And it was just overrun with people everywhere. I mean, we had 2-hour waiting lines just to get into some of the venues. Like it was, I mean, in some ways we feel really bad about that because it's like, we wanted to get as many people into these venues as we could, but some of the venues just had capacity limits. You can't, for fire code and stuff, they'll come shut you down.
Yeah.
We actually almost got shut down one of the nights when Vitalik was doing his talk because we had enough people on the main floor of the sports castle to warrant the fire warden shutting it down. And he was so nice about it. He's like, all right, I'm going to give you 20 more minutes and you got to shut it down. Because the whole main floor where Vitalik was giving his talk was just jam packed.
Wow.
Like arm to arm.
Yeah.
Middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
It's like, what the? It's crazy.
It has to be exciting for you to see from inception in the first year to where, how it's basically what it's become and where you have it now, and the coming years.
Yeah, it's kind of like I look at it more like being a proud parent.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It doesn't really, once it gets to a certain age, it's not really you anymore. It's them doing their thing.
Yeah.
The community is doing their thing now. We just spun it up and created a big tent and a blank canvas for people to come and express themselves in a way that's meaningful for them.
Yeah.
And it just happened to hit the right timing, the right recipe, the right culture vibe. Colorado's a big part of that because we're sort of a multi-dimensional purple state kind of thing where it's like we don't really fit in the traditional sort of binary political action stuff. So we're very crypto friendly by nature.
Nice.
And so it's been very rewarding to see it, but again it's mostly fulfilling to see how many people get value out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's not like people are like, oh, that was cool, let's go to the next one. I mean, people will talk about EthDenver for months afterward.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear this all the time as I'm traveling around to the conference circuit.
Yeah.
Oh, EthDenver's my favorite event of the year. It's my favorite conference. And it's like, well, it's probably because it's not a conference. You like it because it's not corporate chill stuff and the typical conferencey feel stuffy. We don't charge to come. It's free.
Wow.
10,000 people for free. We paid for everybody's food. We paid for
Wow.
everybody's everything.
Wow.
Free swag, free food, free. I mean, not everything. We don't pay for hotels and travel, and
Yeah.
for some people we do actually, but
Uh-huh.
for some hackers we did several hundred actually. But
Wow.
um, yeah,
Fantastic.
it's been a ton of fun. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Like kids are a lot of work, and
Yeah.
it's like in the minute you're like, why did I do this?
So how many
Like
months in
I must.
advance do you guys start gearing up to,
We're already doing it for next
you're
year.
already doing it for next year and here we are in May.
Yeah. Well, we've been doing it since, basically early April, late March. I mean, we
Wow.
have to now. I mean,
Uh,
to plan for an event of this scale and magnitude, it's just, not something that you can wait.
yeah. Are you going to be
You
able to
got to get the.
handle even more people next year?
So we've had some internal discussion about this, and
Uh,
EthDenver's always been about really three things: it's building, community, and education.
okay.
So those things really form what we call an on-ramp situation, where it's really good for new people and those
That's
that don't
important.
know. Well, where else are you going to go?
Yeah.
Case in point, if I'm charging $1,000 for a ticket,
Uh-huh.
which is, I'm not going to name names, but there's plenty of
Event.
conferences out there that are charging for crypto, right?
Yeah.
That are charging between $500 and $1,000,
Yeah.
and they know who they are. Okay, but like, if you're going to do that, what's the probability
Mhm.
that you're going to get newbies to come and pay that?
Mhm. That's a good point.
They're not.
Right.
Who is it going to be? And it's
Mm,
going to be the usual suspects. It's just traveling circuits, right? It's all the crypto OGs and the crypto wealthy people and the NFT shills and whatever. It's like, that's cool.
uh-huh.
I'm not judging any of that. I'm just saying that if that's what you want, it's
Yeah.
kind of a different vibe. It's a different thing.
It also doesn't
And
get
it's
as
certain.
many new people into it.
No. And how many students do you know that can afford that?
Mhm. Yeah.
Guess what population makes up a large constituency of our hacker population, of our
Y
builders?
Younger people.
Students.
Yeah.
You know, so the combination of all of that, it just, you can't. You have to be very flexible. So the question is, how big can we scale it while maintaining its free status?
Okay.
And how, we don't want to scale it past a place where the building becomes overshadowed by something else.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
the building is really, I mean, if you want to get into the Spork DAO mechanics and the Spork token and Bufficorn Ventures and how we're making investments now and projects that come out of EthDenver,
Mm.
like we're creating a full cycle, sort of like, think of EthDenver as like demo day for like an accelerator.
Okay.
And then we make investments into some of these projects that come out the back. It's like first money in. But we've had Pool Together and POAP and 1inch is finalists on our stage, right? So these are projects that in theory we could have made investments in early days.
Mhm.
And had we done that, where would the community be now? So
Mm. Mhm.
we've turned the EthDenver community, and Spork DAO is the kind of parent DAO for this, but it's a community owned thing. EthDenver is owned by the community.
Mhm. No, man, it's
Like, so I
fantastic.
don't own it. I'm a
Right.
stakeholder like a
Mm.
lot of other people, and I'm a
Mhm.
steward. But I'm
Mhm.
beholden to the board of stewards and ultimately the community and making decisions about what's best for the community. So anyway, we want to really keep it around education, community, and building. So like, as long as we'll scale it, probably we're going to look at 20,000.
Okay.
I
A
mean,
lot of people in Denver?
it's a lot of freaking people, man. I mean, your average big conference, like most of them never get past like 5 or 6,000, and those are big.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Right? Now we're talking about venturing into like mega event
Yeah.
status. Like 20,000 people is like, you know, some of the bigger,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few that are way bigger, but like, I don't know. We've been told things like we're the Super Bowl of crypto conferences, we're the South by Southwest of crypto conferences. whatever, we're just trying to do us,
Mhm.
but maintain sort of alignment with the community values and making sure that we don't get too shilly. We are going to be implementing some. Well, we had a big problem this year, which is all of our screening for applications were based on time,
Okay. On
not on quality, right?
on
So
presentation
if
time?
you no, for just attending, right? So when you want to come, we don't charge, but you have to apply. You have to get a ticket.
Okay.
So we do this, because we try to, you know, have some signal and filter on who comes and who doesn't, right? Because we really want to keep it focused on building. But we had so much demand this year. It was like, we had, and a lot of the people that we really wanted to come didn't apply until late in the game. So like they were at a disadvantage, right? So as a result of that, there was
Mhm.
a lot more people there this year that didn't build
Mm.
that than in previous years. And so why were they there? A lot of it's the hype train stuff. They were there because like, NFTs are big and this is big and that's big and hype, hype, hype.
Uh-huh.
And like, okay, so we're creating some gamification that's gonna give people paths and opportunities to contribute to the community
Mhm.
and sort of signal their support that will get them sort of a line skipping pass. They'll be able to get automatic access to
Okay.
the event. Things like owning a Bufficorn Buidl Brigade NFT. I don't know if you saw that project. Did we talk about that last time?
No, go ahead.
So the Bufficorn Buidl Brigade NFT project is a 10,000 PFP project similar to Bored Ape Yacht Club or whatever, but it's the Bufficorn, which is our spirit animal, strength of the buffalo, magic of the unicorn, make babies and Bufficorns. Okay.
Okay.
So there's 244 unique characteristics that are randomly generated per NFT. It's been minted out, but you can get them on OpenSea or other NFT marketplaces.
Okay.
And essentially, owning one of those is, for example, going to be one of the things that you can do to get um, premium ticket access, to
Ah,
get premium access to the event. So if you
okay.
don't own one, that's fine.
Uh-huh.
You can apply and you can come and it's still free. But like if you start doing these other things like owning NFTs or perhaps completing some quests that we put out there that you can do certain things that are valuable to the community,
Okay.
staking sport tokens, there. I mean, I'm not going to get into the under the hood on all of it, but like there's a ton of things that you'll be able to do to kind of signal my community involvement. Then I get priority access. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
utility. It's about creating utility
Absolutely.
and differentiation opportunities for community members that are really serious versus those that are just kind of looky looing and
Yeah.
don't really care.
No, that's a great idea that you and your team have created in the community. That's
Yeah, it's fun.
yeah.
It's been a very interesting experiment.
Yeah, I can see from the outside looking and looking into what you're talking about. Let's segue into Opolis. For those that maybe didn't hear our last episode, can you share a little bit about what Opolis is and who it benefits?
Yeah, so Opolis is a really important piece of DAO infrastructure. Now, it's not just useful to DAOs, but it's useful to anybody working independently. But as it relates to the crypto community, it's very important to DAO infrastructure and DAO tooling and the future of work as it relates to DAOs and
Okay.
Web3. So what it is it's an employment DAO, or if you prefer more normie speak, it's a digital employment cooperative
Okay.
that provides benefits, employment, and shared services for independent workers
Okay.
or Web3 workers, however, DAO contributors, whoever you want to put under the solopreneur banner,
Okay.
right? But essentially, what it does is so typically the trade off when you jump ship from Web 2 and go to Web 3, well, DAOs don't have legal architecture. They're just floating around the ether space.
Hmm.
They're paying you in crypto.
Right.
And how does that translate to your real life where you got to pay your rent and then you got to figure out how to get a W-2 or health insurance or any of this other stuff?
Okay.
You're kind of on your own.
Uh,
you know?
You need
And
packs
so what op
that are peer to peer like that to sell out some of your coins so you can get fiat to pay for some of that stuff, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what we're doing is we're creating the bridge.
Okay.
So Opolis is the bridge that allows somebody to be employed
Mhm.
portably, where their healthcare insurance, their payroll, their pay stubs, their W-2s, their retirement plans follow them,
Mm.
not the project they happen to be serving at that time.
Okay.
Now, this also checks the box for the DAOs because the DAOs no longer have to take responsibility or fuddle around with compliance
Uh-huh.
around employment because the employees are doing it for themselves
Interesting.
through this co-op.
Okay.
So there's a whole bunch of legal under the hood stuff that we're doing that basically checks all these boxes, but essentially it checks all the compliance boxes for both the individual and the company they happen to be providing services to. Notice I didn't say employed by, I said providing services to,
Mhm.
because they're technically employing themselves now. We call this self-sovereign employment.
Okay.
So we talk about self-sovereign identity, we talk about
Yeah.
self-sovereign data, we talk about all these things.
Mhm.
Self-sovereign employment is really where everything sort of aggregates.
Mhm.
Because if you think about it, my employment identity is sort of how I am relating to my commercial stuff, my commercial world.
Okay.
Well, if I quit my W-2 job right now, I lose my health care.
Mhm.
My retirement plans get frozen, you
Mhm.
know? And then what do I do now? I
Mhm.
got to go get another job to
Mhm.
find that healthcare again. Well, if I'm contributing to MakerDAO
Okay.
and Gitcoin DAO and Bankless DAO all at the same time, and they're all paying me various amounts of USDC,
Okay.
let's say,
Yeah.
I can funnel all of that through Opolis, get a W-2, get a pay stub, and get a combination of crypto and fiat sent to me, all reported and done compliantly.
Wow. Wow. That's a game
So
changer.
then my life is kind of normal, right? I've got
Yeah.
my healthcare insurance through Cigna Network. I've got
Hmm.
my retirement plans. I've got all these different things happening, but it's kind of like I'm working for somebody, but I'm just not giving up my independence. So what Opolis has done is on behalf of independent workers,
Mhm.
recreated the whole experience of employment, but not, it not having to give up the freedom and flexibility.
Wow. Man, that's a game
It's
changer.
it's really important stuff. So
Yeah.
when I said DAO tooling,
Uh-huh.
so every week now there's a new DAO popping up, and a lot of them are asking the same questions, like, well, how do we create better engagement, from our contributors? Well, maybe we need to start giving them benefits. We need to start doing this. We need to start doing that. It's like, hold on, sport. Like, you start doing that, you're going to start looking a lot like a corporation.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so just because you call yourself a DAO,
Uh-huh.
there's a meme actually Joe DeLong put out there one time. He's the former CTO of Sushi. I thought it's hilarious. It's a Scooby-Doo meme where it's, Fred pulling the
Uh,
ghost mask off,
uh-huh.
and he's got on the meme, it says Dow. And then he pulls the mask off and it says regular ass company, because, there's a lot of LARPing around this that goes on. It's like,
Yeah.
look, unless you really understand the social and mechanical and legal game design of employment,
Mhm.
the sort of knee-jerk reaction is, well, we got to hire our people and we got to provide benefits and we got to take care of them. And it's like, these are all old school paternalistic things that corporations have been doing. Isn't that what we're running from? We don't like the paternalism and
Yeah.
the control mechanisms and the subjugation stuff that's going on.
Right.
Like, well, how's that going to be different if you continue to do this?
Yeah. Because 'Cause we're always talking about Web3, decentralized new internet, et cetera, right?
So this is decentralized employment because it's being done through a cooperative legal framework that's owned by the members.
Oh, I like that.
So it's an employment DAO, but it's got a legal wrapper of a co-op.
Okay.
So we've just matched it all up so it actually works really well, but it's a distributed power mechanism. It's like REI for employment. Some
Okay.
people understand that sort of connection. It's like, oh, cool. So at the end of the year, when there's profits, you guys will distribute those back to the members. Yeah,
Wow. That's cool.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole schema around our tokenomics and the work token, which is the community token. It's what we call a patronage token, which is the unit of account. The token itself has no rights to profits. Your membership does.
Okay.
But depending on how many of these tokens you own as a member determines pro rata how much the profits you get if and when the time comes that we have profits.
Okay.
So there's a reason to want these work tokens, right?
Yeah.
So then if I'm a consumer, we have this mechanism called payroll mining. Everyone's heard of liquidity mining, but payroll mining is based on growth. So the inflation model of the community only gets triggered once we hit these milestones, these epoch milestones for growth. And once that happens, tokens are distributed to community members that are participating in this payroll mining function between consumption, referrals and their consumption, and then staking.
Okay.
So all of these tokens get sprinkled throughout the community based on growth. So we're accruing each epoch at this stage 10% total ACPV growth, which is annualized commons payroll volume. So as we grow the payroll volume, which is how we make fees to the community, by 10%, every time we do that, it triggers the growth epoch.
Okay.
And the payroll mining distribution.
Okay.
So, but then we're only increasing the token supply by, something like 2%.
Interesting.
So the growth is going up by 10%, but we're only releasing new tokens to the tune of like 2%.
So the people that had the work token prior to that are the ones that benefit?
Well, the people who were early adopters, yeah. So all the membership, the referring members. So there's two kinds of members. There's employee members who are actually like running their payroll, getting their healthcare, doing all that stuff. Then there's coalition members, which are DAOs, organizations, individuals that aren't employee members but are members in support of the self-sovereign worker.
Okay.
So they're there making referrals, they're contributing technology, they're doing other things as part of the co-op, but they're not consuming consuming employee members. But there's two other ways that you can make tokens as far as rewards go, and that's referring new members. So for example, Bankless DAO is a huge referring resource for our community.
Okay.
Huge. Okay. So they've got dozens of individuals who have been referred by them.
Okay.
Now, Bankless isn't a customer. Bankless DAO isn't employing anyone, like not as a W-2, not as any of that. So it doesn't even have a legal entity, right? So Bankless DAO is compensating people or just referring people from their community who are doing various things in Web3. And when they run their paychecks and consume their healthcare, they're getting also those rewards for having made that referral. And that's in perpetuity. So as long as that member stays active in the Opolis community, they continue to stack those rewards. And then when the profits come time due, they're actually making profits on those referrals as patronage.
Wow, man, you got a lot of layers to this. This is awesome.
It took us like 3 years to not only design the legal framework, but even get to V1 of the tokenomics. I mean, it was a slog.
Yeah, I can see. Like there's some layerage to this,
Well, if anybody's interested in reading more about this, just go to opolis.co, scroll down to the very bottom. There's a section called Nerd Stuff.
Okay.
And it's the work rewards token paper. So if you just
and we'll have all that
read
on
that paper. There's a bunch of resources there. There's also our off-white paper, which is kind of the manifesto for decentralized employment and self-sovereign employment.
Okay.
There's a bunch of cool stuff, and that's I would call it almost more of an academic paper. It's sort of a vision casting manifesto type of thing, where it's not a typical white paper with a bunch of hand wavy bullshit, crypto pie chart diagrams and all this stuff that the old school white papers used to have. Like, no, this is much more it's a very long-winded thesis on why we're doing what we're doing.
And we'll definitely have all the links on the episode blog post page, for today. So is there anything else you want to share, John, as to what you have going this year here in 2022 and beyond? I know you're a very busy guy with, everything you have going with EthDenver, planning almost a year in advance for the next one, and Opolis,
Yeah.
and, you know,
Well, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast and you're new, which, my understanding is there's a lot of your target audience is kind of
yes.
new to crypto. The first thing I would suggest is, get involved with some of these communities, and two, as fast as you possibly can, get working in Web3.
Mhm.
It is the future. If you're on the fence and you're like, well, I don't have health insurance, obviously there's a low hanging shill for me there with Opolis and things. But
Mhm.
like, just get involved in the community. I talk to people every day, every week that are looking over the fence going, I
Mhm.
really want to come over to this, but I'm not really sure where to start. Come to events and meet people.
Yeah.
Go to the booths. Nobody goes to booths at typical conferences. Who wants to do that? Be sold stuff.
Uh-huh.
The irony about Web3 events is they're mostly recruiting activities.
Mm.
They're looking for you. They're looking for new people.
Mm.
And we are too. I mean, we're looking
Mm.
for software developers, we're looking for community people, we're looking for merchandising people, we're looking for all sorts of stuff, right? So
Mhm.
like, come and learn. I
Mm.
mean, it's a big reason and a huge factor of why we keep EthDenver free, because we don't want to create false barriers, or unnecessary barriers for
Mhm.
people to come and actually learn what they need to learn.
Mhm. No, that's a good point. And in between, when they're waiting for the larger events, even locally in most major cities, there's crypto meetups or there's Web3 events. Even local regional ones in between the time of the ETH Denvers and the others. So
Yeah, for sure.
get plugged in, get connected, jump in.
There's no shortage of events. There's ETH New York. There's ETH San Francisco happening this year.
Hmm.
There's Consensus in Austin. There's Permissionless in Palm Beach
Hmm.
in a
They're
few weeks.
they're
There's like
launching
all
ETH Mexico in August, the first one ever in Mexico City.
yeah,
These
Mexico
cities,
City and Sao Paulo,
and Sao
Brazil
Paulo,
is in
Brazil.
in
Eu
and then
gosto
there's
português do Brasil muito. I love that language. Yeah, fantastic, man.
você brasileiro?
No, I'm not. I'm not a brasileiro, but eu tenho muito amigos do Brasil. Mm, So yeah,
Muito bem.
I love the Portuguese. Tão bem, sim. Obrigado. I studied it
De
for like
nada.
3 years, so
Did
you
you?
have the Cariocas in Rio, or they call it Rio, and then you have, the
Rio.
Paulistas in São Paulo.
Paulistas in Sao Paulo.
Uh-huh. So this is a
Yeah.
shout out from John and I to our brasileiros around the world. We didn't even plan that. We just started talking about it, but
No, just started talking
yeah.
about it.
Hey, John, it was a pleasure to have you here, and is there anything else in closing that you would like to share with.
Well, one little piece of alpha on the Opolis side. So anybody who has been sort of debating whether or not they should join the Opolis community, or if you're looking at that, so there's two reasons why you would join. First off, if you're working in Web3 and you're looking for your income and just your situation to be legitimized, it's a great reason to come. It's community owned. There's no sales bullshit. It's easy access. The only thing you have to do is you have to have an entity. We can help you with that. In fact, we even have some specials to help you do that at no cost. The second way is if you're looking over the fence and you're like, I really want to get involved in Web3, jump over the fence, get involved in some DAOs, whatever you got to do, come to the community. We just launched a partnership with Brain Trust, which actually has a Web3 talent directory and a few other things that they're standing up. They're kind of the market layer where we're like the employment layer for this future of work stack.
Mhm.
But we're
Mhm.
planning on being at 1,000 members by the end of the year. So the reason why I'm dropping this little alpha is there is going to be a decrease in the work rewards emissions at 1,000 members. So get in now,
Okay.
because the early rewards, like the early adopter rewards, are going to be reduced at 1,000, and we're expecting that by fall time.
Okay. Ah, that's a good little golden nugget for all the viewers and listeners, John, man, it
Yeah.
was a pleasure to have you here, and you're the first person that's ever been on this show twice. So, we thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in EthDenver if I don't see you before then.
No, we'll see you for sure, and I'll
Yeah.
I'll be around the conference circuit all summer. So I'll be in Paris for sure. I'll be in Austin, Palm Beach, New York,
Okay.
San Francisco.
Okay.
I'll be around. So I mean,
I'll come up to you. Yeah.
yeah, check it
Fantastic.
out, man.
All right. Hey, John, thanks. It's a pleasure. If you like today's episode, definitely like and subscribe to the podcast, show your support, and chime in here tomorrow for another special episode. Until then, make it a great day.